Primetime News, special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com.
The Governor General has intervened in the controversy surrounding the appointment of an acting Chief Justice.
A statement this afternoon from King's House said Sir Patrick Allen last Friday convened a tripartite meeting with representatives of the executive, legislative and judicial branches of the government following a written request from Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
But even as on the heels of the King's House statement, there's still no timeline for the full appointment of the Chief Justice, some 22 days after he was appointed to act until further notice. TVJ's Vashon Brown has more.
It's been making headlines for weeks, the appointment of an acting Chief Justice. In a statement on Thursday, King's House said the Governor-General met with representatives of the three branches of government last Friday. The Governor-General noted that the meeting was called to address recent developments and allay anxieties that the public may have. The executive was represented by the Prime Minister, the Ministers of Finance and the Public Service, National Security, Justice and the Attorney General. The legislature was represented by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President of the Senate. The judiciary by the acting Chief Justice, the President of the Court of Appeal, the senior and other puisne judges. According to King's House, the meeting was intended to explore ways in which each of the branches of government can collaborate and support the smooth operation of the country's governance structure and provide the best service to the people of Jamaica. The Prime Minister requested the meeting of the three branches in response to what the King's House release called a perceived threat to the independence of the judiciary. The Prime Minister reiterated that the executive had no intention of undermining or diminishing the role of the judiciary and that his primary interest is to ensure that all of government works in the best interest of the people and that public resources are efficiently used and properly accounted for. The judiciary declared that the three branches of the government were separate but not separated, equal and independent in their core functions, while acknowledging that all branches had to work together. They agreed that the meeting allowed for misunderstandings to be cleared up on major issues of concern in a manner that does not bring the judiciary into disrepute and kept it beyond reproach. Vashon Brown, TVJ News.
Health officials are back at square one as it relates to finding a solution to stop the noxious fumes now affecting the Cornwall Regional Hospital. But as TVJ Shamela Mitchell reports, this is not the only problem with the facility.
With more issues plaguing the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James, there have been suggestions that the health facility should be shut down and a location found to build a new hospital. We put the issue to Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton.
If I had my way, and if I could afford it, meaning the government, a brand new hospital in Montego Bay in St. James to replace Cornwall Regional would be the absolute ideal scenario.
Dr. Tufton explained that the facility continues to face challenges. In addition to the noxious fumes, the building was compromised after recent trauma in the parish.
What we have found in an attempt to restore what was originally a ventilation issue, several sources of contaminants, whether it is mold because of leaking roof and moisture in the wall, whether it is fiberglass in the old duct system that was abandoned for many years and then turned on, whether it is the boiler in the basement with a chimney that is compromised and goes right up through the middle of the building. You set out to deal with one issue, you end up having 4 and 5.
The health minister admitted that Cornwall Regional
have placed too little attention on the maintenance of their assets, of the taxpayers' assets. If there's one thing that we need to learn from this Cornwall Regional experience, is that you cannot build a building and expect that it will last forever without adequate maintenance. Just as you don't buy a car and not take it for routine maintenance, oil change and so on.
On Tuesday, nurses reported the re-emergence of noxious fumes at the hospital. This months after the situation caused the administration to scale down some of the services offered at the hospital. Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
Commuters who use the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC's buses, may soon have to pay more to use the service. This as the cash-strapped company has put in a request to the government for a revision of the current fare structure. In an
In an interview with our news center, Managing Director of the JUTC, Paul Abraham, said the state-owned bus company has approached the Ministry of Transport seeking a new fare structure.
Yes, there is a need for a fare increase. I would say successive JUTC management have all lobbied for an increase, and we are no different. We've made representations to our parent ministry for an increase, and we're hoping that we'll get some results out of that shortly. We have sent various scenarios to them, a combination of a fare increase along with subsidy. As you know, we are in discussion with the ministry on that, and we'll see what the results will come from that.
The request for a fare increase comes in the wake of a report in Parliament last week projecting that the bus company will rack up a $7 billion loss during the 2018-2019 fiscal year, which begins on April 1. The report tabled last week by Finance Minister Audley Shaw also projected that the JUTC will suffer a $3.1 billion loss during the current fiscal year. During the new fiscal year, the JUTC's fuel bill is expected to increase by $1.1 billion to $3.6 billion, while it will have to fork out an additional $500 million for the repair and maintenance of its buses and depots. Mr. Abrams explained that one of the contributing factors to the spike in losses is the competition from illegal transport operators.
Some of the expenses that we are facing right now are, along with the aging fleet, which is requiring high cost of maintenance, fuel, etc. Those are some of the components that are heavily weighed on our budget right now. We are trying to keep everything as tight as possible. Our expenses are running parallel or below our budget. However, it's a challenging operation with the competition that is out there, the vehicles and the other forms of alternative form of transportation.
He also added that the JUTC will be implementing some medium to long-term cost reduction strategies.
We are implementing a time and attendance for greater control on overtime and accountability for salaries, etc. A tracking system, and that will be able to control driver behavior and help with maintenance as we go along. Accident investigations to control our personal injury situations and damage control to vehicles outside. So we are operating in the best capacity that we can, but we are challenged with a number of issues that do affect our operation.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, in light of the request being made by the JUTC, there have been strong reactions of disapproval from the opposition and the travelling public. Opposition spokesman on transport, Michael Phillips, says he's not in favour of the request, as he believes there are several actions the management of the JUTC must explore before seeking a fare increase. He wants to see the company cut its expenses.
The government itself need to put in new buses in the fleet, which will reduce your cost of petrol, which will reduce your cost of spare parts, and also there are other aspects to the transport sector that needs to be done. The government itself has allowed chaos on the routes, especially the more profitable routes for the JUTC. I think those things should be looked at first before going to the public and asking them for a fare increase.
In the meantime, commuters in the corporate area are also in disagreement, as they believe any increase in the cost of transportation at this time will be unfair and burdensome.
People can't even buy food already. How much I go pay? What am I going to say? 120? Them are going to do better bus service. I know we made JUTC can run. And them bankrupt. Them have to think it over. That either them raise the pay for people, and then them can raise them bus fare.
The citizens of the country, their income need for raise before you can raise anything else. And for you to raise the bus fare, that means to say better the people them stay at them yard who have to go to work, because you already can't find bus fare already, you can't find lunch money. So if bus fare go raise now, your worse, I can't find a way out.
Yes, I do have a problem, because if they are not increasing salary, we can't take on any more expense. They have to do something about the salary, then they can increase the fare. But right now, from my point of view, I rather stay where it is for now, because I can't afford it.
Our top story this evening, Governor General Sir Patrick Allen convenes meeting at the request of the Prime Minister to sort out controversy surrounding the appointment of an acting Chief Justice. And still ahead in business news, risks and opportunities. BOJ continues its warning about cryptocurrencies. We'll be right back.
continuing the news. The St. Thomas woman who was caught on video beating her daughter with a machete will not get back her children until they're older. The woman, Doreen Dyer, who was sentenced to 3 years probation last month, appeared before the Children's Court in St. Thomas Thursday. The judge told Ms. Dyer that she will not get back her children, who are both 13-year-olds, until they are 18. An emotional Ms. Dyer spoke to TVJ News after the ruling.
I am at Yala's courthouse to get my kids in court there. And I'm at the court, think I was supposed to get my kids in today. So the judge told me that I was staying with my sister custody until I'm 18 years old before I can get them. And I just feel so nice to go and get them back to them now. But they're forever about them.
There is no a lull in the violence in Augustown as the security forces have increased their presence in the community. Students of the Augustown Primary School are still reeling from the effects of the recent killing of a man on Monday. Kirk Wright has their story.
Students of the Augustown Primary School playing in the schoolyard. It's their sanctuary away from home, a refuge when gang violence erupts in the community. Monday was a perfect example of the role the school plays in the children's lives. It was brought home when gunmen stormed a section of the community called Jungle 12 and killed a resident.
The effect is dramatic. You saw where on Monday, the day of the shooting, we had over 300 students. On Tuesday, the day after, at 1/5 of the population, 20%. So that alone shows how dramatic the effect was within a day's span.
Augustown has always had violent flare-ups, with the exception of 2016 when no murders were recorded in the community. But the effects of the years of violence lingers on.
We have seen the effects it's actually rippling. Last several years, we actually had over 500 persons in the school, and now we're down to sub 400.
But rewind to Monday's killing. It happened minutes after 8, not far from the school. Students heading to school or just about anyone could have easily get caught up in the shooting. The explosions from the gunshots echoed all around the community, creating confusion among the school population. Mr. Peart says the shooting left some students broken.
The morning, about 10 minutes after the shooting, we had a grade 5 classroom there, and a grade 6 child, one of our better students, sat on the floor, and she was literally trembling and crying. And when I saw the tears, I was saying, oh my God, just imagine what effect it has on this child's future, the exam prospects. And I was wondering how much so other students, because I saw other kids who actually, their eyes were bulging and said, sir, what do we do, what do we do? And you actually felt that fear, that trauma. It was almost palpable.
Since Monday, the students have been getting counseling. But Mr. Peart says the students are at a stage where the slightest sounds trigger a commotion.
Our bag pops and kids are jumping and looking around like, oh my God, our persons are diving under their tables because it mimics that of a gunshot. It's indeed worrying.
The ongoing violence has also had an adverse impact on the teachers. Mr. Peart himself has experienced a lot. He has been at the school for 18 years.
What we saw on Monday, what we heard on Monday, what we felt on Monday was unique. You know, we saw adults and basically adults actually watching the staff room. We saw adults crying, and most person have seen adults crying like that. You know, teachers, you have teachers who are indeed very, very traumatized. Some persons were contemplating coming to work for the entire week because they still felt that deep scar, that fear factor was still very strong even today.
The school had a devotion on Thursday morning. Parents, community members attended. It's their way of signaling to those contributing to the violence that it needs to stop. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
Former Jamaica Labour Party firebrand Joan Gordon-Webley will make a comeback in the political arena when the next general election is called. She'll be representing the People's National Party in St Andrew East Rural, a seat she previously held and is now currently held by the Prime Minister's wife, Juliet Holness. PNP General Secretary Julian Robinson made the revelation at a meeting in St Elizabeth, South Eastern, where the party also unveiled its new candidate for that seat.
Joan Gordon-Webley is among a slate of candidates that were unveiled at the PNP's recent NEC meeting. There is still some way to go before Jamaicans go to the polls in the next general elections, but the PNP says it's putting its house in order.
In East and St Andrew, Comrade Melissa Phillips. In East Rural St Andrew, Comrade Joan Gordon-Webley. In West Rural St Andrew, Comrade Jennifer Hauser. In North East St Catherine, Comrade Oswald Senior Smith. In Southeast Langdon, Comrade Patricia Duncan Sutherland.
Medical Dr. Dwayne Spencer was confirmed as the party's candidate for St. Elizabeth Southeastern, a seat currently held by the JLP's Franklin Witter.
I am here tonight because I believe Southwest St. Elizabeth deserves a good representative.
The government is insisting that all efforts are being made to protect the country's energy security, even as the ministry looks to diversify our energy. Prime Minister Andrew Holness outlined that specific targets have been given to the energy minister. He was speaking at the unveiling of the new Edward Siaga building at the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica this morning. TVJ's Anthony Logg reports.
There may be some concerns as it relates to the future of this refinery.
Those concerns arise from the continuing sanction the United States has placed on Venezuela, restricting how much business can be done with its state-owned oil company, PDVSA, which owns 49% of Petrojam. But amidst those concerns, Prime Minister Andrew Holness sought to assure Jamaicans that work is being done.
We have taken a deliberate approach to diversifying our energy source. And you would know that we have significantly increased the level of usage of LNG. But we have also diversified in renewables.
But even as the government moves in this direction, it's still not clear what consumers can expect to pay for energy. However, the Prime Minister says a target has been given to the Energy Minister.
We are on track to being able to supply 30% of our electricity needs using renewables.
Energy Minister Andrew Wheatley says the ministry remains devoted to the target. He's hoping that the 2 oil seeps found recently near Jamaica will assist in boosting the country's GDP.
We are on par and good pace right now as it relates to our economic development and our growth targets. But that will act as a even more of a catalyst to ensure that we achieve real growth.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness believes using renewable energy is the best option.
The best way to ensure against volatility is to have your energy being locally generated. And it is best when it is generated by the God-given natural resources.
Anthony Logg, TVJ News.
Zone Commander DSP Andrew Edwards says the police have come up on a major hurdle in recent murder investigations in Linstead. Last week, there were several killings in the town, some in broad daylight. However, DSP Edwards says the police are not getting the cooperation of the persons who may have seen or know about the incidents, especially the killing of a bus driver in the town.
We, the police, we're appealing to anyone who have any sort of lead, who can assist us in any way, any shape or form. We'd be appreciative of such a gesture, because we really want to have a closure in this investigation.
And time now for the responses from our friends on Facebook and Twitter. Archie is at the smart board.
Thanks, Lorraine. Here's a question this evening. We're asking, what's your reaction to news that the Governor General has intervened in the saga surrounding the full appointment of the Chief Justice? Our first comment is, well, this move is unprecedented. It's the first time I'm seeing or hearing of a sitting or standing Governor General intervening in anything. Interesting. Our next comment is, don't want to know. Who really cares? Certainly not I. Stale news reigniting itself again. What's the hold-up? Next comment. It's heartening to hear that the Governor General has used his good office to cauterize this unnecessary saga. The world is watching. And here's our final comment. Well, it's always been a cat and mouse issue in this country, so I'm now wondering, why is it GG acting as, while he's at it, can intervene in the wage negotiations too? Keep it all leveled. Keep your comments coming on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/Television Jamaica and tweets to @Television Jam. Business news and news from overseas after the break. Please stay tuned.